World War II is filled with stories of unexpected heroes, but few are as powerful, as overlooked, or as devastatingly effective as the Black Tank Battalion Hitler never saw coming. Fighting in a world that doubted their abilities and a military that segregated them, these soldiers didn't just prove themselves, they shattered expectations on the battlefield. Their courage, precision, and unstoppable drive turned them into one of the most feared armored units of the entire war. In this video, we're diving into the story of the Black Tank Battalion that rolled through Nazi defenses and earned respect the hard way through unmatched bravery and undeniable results. You'll learn who they were, how they fought, and why their legacy still echoes through military history. Before we roll into this incredible chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell because stories like this deserve to be front and center. The formation of the 761st. In 1942, America was fighting two wars, one against the Axis powers overseas and another against segregation at home. The U.S. military was strictly segregated, with black soldiers mostly assigned to support roles, like cooking, cleaning, and loading supplies. The idea of black men operating complex machinery like tanks was considered impossible by many white officers. But everything changed when the military desperately needed more troops. The 761st Tank Battalion was activated at Camp Clyburn, Louisiana, in March 1942. These men faced an uphill battle from day one. They trained with outdated equipment while white units got the best gear. Their training was harder, their standards were higher, and they had to prove themselves twice over just to be considered half as good. Despite the racism and obstacles, these soldiers pushed through. They trained on M5 Stuart light tanks and M4 Sherman medium tanks, learning every aspect of armored warfare. Their motto became, "Come out fighting," and they meant every word of it. Training against all odds. The training period was brutal in more ways than one. The 761st spent over 2 years preparing for combat, far longer than most white units. They trained at multiple locations, including Camp Hood, Texas, where they perfected their tank tactics and coordination. The men had to deal with constant discrimination from nearby towns, where they couldn't eat at most restaurants or stay at hotels. What made it worse was that many military leaders didn't believe they would ever see combat. Some officers viewed their training as a waste of resources. But the battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Bates, was different. He was a white officer who genuinely believed in his men's abilities and fought for them at every turn. The soldiers of the 761st trained like their lives depended on it because they knew they did. They became experts in tank gunnery, maintenance, navigation, and battlefield communication. By the time they finished training, they were as ready as any unit in the entire army. Arrival in Europe. In October 1944, the 761st finally shipped out to Europe. They landed in France and were assigned to General George Patton's Third Army. Before they entered combat, Patton gave them a speech that would become legendary. He told them, "Men, you're the first Negro tankers to ever fight in the American Army. I would never have asked for you if you weren't good. I have nothing but the best in my army. I don't care what color you are, as long as you go up there and kill those Kraut sons of bitches." It wasn't a perfect speech by modern standards, but it meant something. Patton had the reputation for being brutally honest, and he was putting his credibility on the line by bringing them into combat. The 761st was about to get their chance to prove what they could do. Their first combat mission came on November 7, 1944, in France. They were tasked with supporting infantry units and breaking through German defensive lines. The battalion fought in some of the coldest, most miserable conditions imaginable. The winter of 1944 was one of the harshest in European history. Combat against the Nazis. The 761st entered combat during a critical phase of the war. They fought through France, into Belgium during the Battle of the Bulge, and pushed deep into Germany itself. Their tanks rumbled through towns and forests, engaging German forces in intense firefights. One of their most remarkable achievements was their continuous combat record. The 761st fought for 183 consecutive days without relief, longer than almost any other armored unit in the war. They liberated numerous French and Belgian towns, broke through the Siegfried Line, and helped liberate concentration camps. The Germans quickly learned to respect the black tankers. In battle, a tank is a tank, and the 761st proved they could operate theirs as well as anyone. They destroyed German fortifications, knocked out enemy tanks, and provided crucial support to infantry units pushing eastward. Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers became one of the battalion's greatest heroes. Despite being severely wounded, he refused medical evacuation and continued fighting for 3 more days, destroying enemy positions and vehicles. He was killed in action on November 19, 1944. It took over 50 years, but he was finally awarded the Medal of Honor in 1997. Breaking barriers on the battlefield. What made the 761st service even more remarkable was what they represented. Every time they succeeded in combat, they challenged the racist assumptions that had kept black soldiers out of combat roles. German propaganda had told their soldiers that black Americans were inferior. Yet here they are, fighting with skill and courage. The men of the 761st faced enemy fire from the front and racism from behind. Even while fighting for their country, they dealt with discrimination from some American officers. They couldn't always eat in the same mess halls or drink from the same canteens as white soldiers. They fought for a country that didn't fully recognize their humanity. But they kept fighting. They kept proving themselves, and slowly their reputation grew. Infantry units began requesting the 761st by name because they knew these tankers would get the job done. The legacy they left behind. The 761st Tank Battalion played a crucial role in paving the way for the integration of the U.S. military. Their combat record during World War II was extraordinary, proving that black soldiers could perform under the most demanding and dangerous conditions. Their bravery made it increasingly difficult for military leaders to justify segregation. The battalion earned numerous honors, including the Presidential Unit Citation, one of the highest awards a military unit can receive. Many individual soldiers were recognized with Silver Stars, Bronze Stars, and Purple Hearts for their valor. Their exceptional service directly influenced President Truman's landmark decision to desegregate the armed forces in 1948. After the war, many members of the 761st returned home determined to continue the fight for civil rights. Having faced Nazi tanks on the battlefield, they were unwilling to tolerate segregation and discrimination in their own country. Their courage and resilience not only advanced military integration, but also inspired and energized the broader civil rights movement in America. The Black Tank Battalion didn't just fight the enemy overseas. They fought prejudice at home, proving through their heroism and skill that excellence has no color. Their victories left a mark on the war and helped pave the way for a more integrated military in the years that followed. Their story is one of resilience, courage, and brilliance under fire. Which part of their journey inspired you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what stood out to you. If this video helped shine a spotlight on heroes too often written out of the narrative, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this history. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep honoring the warriors who changed the world.